GCF.
I'm going to be introducing some of the amazing speakers that we've got here today, and it promises, I think, to be a very, very interesting programme. And there's going to be lots of big ideas and themes that are running through the day, and one of those is definitely about our interconnectedness, the fact that we are all connected, and that's one of the things we're working towards here, is a greater sort of connectedness at a consciousness level. So I'd like to introduce now three speakers who are going to come up and join me on stage here, who are going to sort of welcome you and introduce the big themes and set the scene for the day.
Welcome to the 5th Global Citizen Forum in 2013 in the Dorchester Park Lane. And I think today is a good example. We have some 250 people here today. Only 125 are the entourage of Dr. Modi. We have about 250 people this morning, and we have 400 tonight at the evening meal. It's not just the rich and famous. It is the poor and the humble. It's visionaries and doers in society. And it's the young and the old. And specifically, Dr. Modi wanted to attract the young. And we have students coming here from all around the country and people from all around the world. From Ecuador, from Italy, from all everywhere. When I was reading those bios, like Duncan mentioned, I was truly humbled, I have to say, from the people that are here today. And the speakers you're going to have. It's really inspirational.
Good evening, friends. I'm saying that we are going to be with you the whole day, and I'm very glad to be here with you in the city of London. I think it was here many years back that the idea of globalization took place. It was the Britishers who took on them a job to modernize the whole world. They went virtually every part of the world. They had, played their role in bringing new technologies to various developing countries. And they were the people who really got the minds of people that there could be one world. A new culture which is today being projected through technology. It's a Facebook, Google culture. It's a culture where people are not connected by traveling or this, they're connecting through internet. They're connecting through mobile, internet and internet. It's a culture where more than 100 crores of the people, 10 billion people are today connected through Facebook. It's a culture where youth today is not at all worried who their friends are, from which country they come, which religion they belong. They rather have friends than their families to advise what to do. So what we need in GCF, ladies and gentlemen, is to look at laws of every country and see which laws can be changed to bring empowerment to the youth, empowerment to the women, empowerment to the children. And I think in this, the women have to play a very, very major role. We want more women in the room. In fact, I told Mr. Olenka when he was saying this, he said we reserve 50% of the membership to the women. He said, what happened if they become 51? Already in his mind he's thinking, let the women not dominate. He never said what happened if they are 40. Am I right? You're right. So I think this mind change has to be changed. And all of you here are ready to bring that change in mind. You are going to be change agents. And we need each one of you. So that's why you're here. You are global citizen the day you decided you are here.
The concept of global citizenship is very good because at least it is going to help in reducing the conflicts. It is going to help a better understanding that disputes, the wars will be over.
So my experience and my suggestion to you people is that this world is full of intelligence. The global intelligence is the key role to play in this world.
More and more people globally are living in cities, and as Dr. Modi mentioned in his presentation there, if you're really going to create one world and you're really going to reach the greatest number of global citizens, global cities have got to be the heart, at the heart of that movement. So that's going to be the theme now in this next section of the meeting, global cities and global citizens. As I said, I grew up in South Africa in a very apartheid era where even what we heard and what we watched and what we saw was restricted by the state. The state had a certain vision that it wanted us to appreciate. And this is how it felt we should be. And I felt that my experiences and my beliefs and my values in this world were unique to me, and that the rest of the world was so different. It was so much bigger, it was so much greater, it was so much cleverer, and our feelings were just mine. But what I can tell you without a doubt is as I travel the world today, and literally I travel, as I said, east, west, north, south, on a constant basis, is we as humans are all pretty much the same. Deep down at our core, every one of us wants to be loved, we want to be appreciated, we want to love others, we want to grow, we want to leave a legacy. Every one of us hates war, we hate strife. We fear the economy, and we fear our children growing up and going in the wrong direction. And it's those core values that are the same to every single one of us. And I think that's what we really need to be focusing on. And that's such a fantastic thing, to realize that the core. So as I travel the world, very often I'm going into unique places. I will often go into Colombia, into an area that was once controlled by the paramilitary, to go and look at emerald mines. Or I might go into Madagascar, or I'm very often going into deepest Africa in areas where I've done it on a motorcycle, where it's just me and I spent a night sleeping and I wake up in the morning with a whole lot of local people looking at this shiny motorcycle. But I've never, ever, ever felt afraid. I've never felt threatened. I've never felt kind of that I need to be worried, because I've lived the philosophy that when I meet somebody, I look for the heart. I don't look for the person. I don't look for the shell. And every single person I've ever met has a heart, has a soul. And when you can touch with a heart, you can touch with a soul, you share, you can connect.
Do you think it's possible that in the next 50 years, all of humanity could be united under one single citizenship? And there's huge millions of comments, well, not really millions, lots of comments kind of unfolded from that huge discussion, and it became a discussion about how likely it was. And eventually I just had to say, I didn't ask how likely it was. I don't care how likely it is. I asked if it was possible. And what I suggest is you start standing for possibility instead of likeliness. And just remember that if you believe in something enough, that the how is going to sort itself out. We don't have to know how right now to say, this is what I want, this is what I'm moving forward towards, and this is what I'm living for. You don't have to know. Stand for what's possible. If you believe in global citizenship, just speak for it. Carry a flag around that says global citizen or humanity. And when you're in a conversation with somebody, put that flag in the ground. Let it be taller than their flag of their nation or whatever their flag is. If it's not all of humanity, let it be taller, let it be bigger. And when they ask why that is, just say, because it's more important.
That when Chief Seattle was told, he was approached by a representative and asked that the big chief would like to buy your land. And he said, how can you buy or sell the sky? If we don't own the sparkle of the rivers, if we don't own the freshness and sweetness of the air where our ancestors are living even now, how can we barter it? How can we buy it? And that remains our question today. Education is key. What we give our youth, as we've been talking about, what we give our men, our women, our children, before we recognize gender, we have to really endorse the fact that we belong to this planet. This extraordinary planet that doesn't ask us when we fell a tree or eat a fruit. It gives constantly. Are we making sure that we're replenishing that as well? And are we making sure that we're taking that teaching forward with our children? Will we teach our children what our parents taught us? Will we teach our children what all of humanity has been teaching each other? That there is something greater, wider, and it is actually first.
Clouds are like dreams, our desires can form shadows. They block out the light, it's all we can see. The sun gives his warmth to all that be as the sun, and soon you will see one world, one hope, one dream that unites us all, one love, one mouth to feed, life invites us all.
If we accept the very foundations of the fact that if you remove the human out of humanity, then what is it that we have left? That is an issue for globalization. When you become a global citizen, it is for you and I to actually put our humanity back where it needs to be.
We're going to have now our second panel, and the theme this time is creating social value through innovation. Now this is something that came up very much in the first session, and I know that one of the sort of principles behind Dr. Modi's foundation of this movement, in fact, is the fact that technology got there first. The global village was already being created by social media, by the incredible expansion of technology around the world. The consciousness is just sort of lagging behind, perhaps, and we're sort of dragging ourselves after these extraordinary revolutions that have taken place in our sort of time.
I will use social networking as an example of creating social value. Dr. Modi, in his opening remarks, already touched upon social networking and the fact how, or rather, talked about how the world is changing through social networking. And indeed it is. We have about 1.5 billion people who today communicate through social networking. Social networking has become the main communication tool for young people across the world. It has also increasingly become a major tool for commercial transactions, for e-commerce and mobile commerce. Examples of that: 83% of the consumers in the US nowadays buy their goods online and buy mainly based on recommendations from their circle of social networking friends. As comes to information, a recent study in Sweden showed that 99% of young people no longer buy newspapers because they get all their news from the social networks.
I believe that innovators of the future and we're all innovators in our own way. I believe innovators in the future have got 4 challenges they face. 1, to design only what is needed. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. And I sometimes look at what's happening in the fields of agriculture, perhaps in pharmaceuticals, and I sometimes think, do we really need all of those new innovations? So I think innovators should ask themselves that. Secondly, to design in an ethical framework, in an ethical mindset. Because again, we can always design things without having to thinking through those things. But the consequences can be quite considerable. Thirdly, to design products and services that reduce inequality. And fourthly, and perhaps most important of all, to be wise. To realize that it's not that what I'm designing is not only what I want to do, to emerge, but also that think about how it could emerge.
This is the device that will liberate and emancipate every single person. This is not going to work unless you give everyone an unfiltered, uncensored, internet, free access to everything. Because the internet, unfortunately, is being used at the moment. Knowledge is power, they say. That power should belong to every single person. A 14-year-old American student found out that his friend was dying from cancer. He went and researched through the internet by looking at all sorts of different papers from all over and discovered a test that allows for cancer treatment to be treated, or a test for cancer to find a type of cancer, which costs 1/26 of an actual test. He did that by having access to the internet. The next brilliant idea It's not going to come from Dr. Modi or Hussein Shafi or you. It's going to come from the 7 billion people who should have access to have their next idea, their next bright thing that will change society, given a chance to flourish. The only way you're going to be able to do that is through this.
Imagine if you're an investor, you have one portfolio, and that yields you 260% in a year. That's pretty good going, right? Sebade commissioned a piece of economic research about something called not return on investment, but social return on investment. So you're looking at if you put £1 of time, effort, or money into Sebade, what is the return, not generated just for you, but for the economy and society in general? That could be through productivity improvements, or improvements in well-being and happiness and reduced stress. And that report found that for every £1 of time or effort, or money put into Sebade, the social return for Britain was £2.60. And in total, that meant up to about £11 million of benefit for Britain through 1 day of social volunteering. And that was because people developed a taste for volunteering. They said they were going to help again and again and again.
How we can actually work with technology from a local base with people and volunteering to actually spread that out on a global scale. And how can we use people who have talents and expertise to support new generations through mentorship and global mentorship right around the world? And how do we actually pull that together to develop the global citizen skills that we've all talked about today? I'm just going to come to a close now, but it's the two things really. Yes, technology, innovation is going to change us, but more importantly, it's the people who make it happen.
As I promised before the tea break, this final session, I think it's a very interesting topic here indeed. This is emigration as a positive force in a globalized world.
They were kings, they wanted to rule this country, they had to decide how can they justify killing of human beings, justify the war. Why would somebody kill somebody unless you say, no, you're fighting for your country, your motherland, your fatherland. So this is the fact here. So if we take that perspective of humanity, that we all come from the same place, we belong to the same thing, then we come back to the struggle again. That's what we're talking about, Global Citizen Forum.
We already are the global citizens. We are born that way. We don't have to strive towards, we don't have to arrive at a place of being global. We already are. Dr. Modi, our job is already done. You are just revealing to us kind of the journey, the journey within. The journey, that is the only journey, the only migration really is one that is sort of back to our original authentic essence. And that is a very, very valuable one. And if we can recognize that all of our travels, be they geographic or otherwise, they're all really that one journey.
Migration and immigration are two different things. They mean the same thing at the end of the day. Immigration are the most common agendas for many governments, many countries, many organizations. Some talk of curbing immigration, others talk of having immigration into their countries. Now, why do we do all these things? I'm not sure. But immigration and immigration are two important tools to be managed very carefully if you have to run the economies of our countries. That's very, very important for us at the moment.
Just because you go to live in another country doesn't mean you lose the value of your own country, but similarly it doesn't mean you need to enforce your value on someone else. It's all about sharing, and that's why I really like the idea of global citizenship. I think it's a wonderful, positive way of eradicating the negative, but most importantly about building for the youth of the future. I think that there is a lot of discussions to be made. A forum like this will enable us to do that. Hopefully it will change the law. It will allow maybe programs to come up for people that are less fortunate.
Because we face amazing challenges, and if those challenges are to be transformed into opportunities, certainly we will need creativity. So my job tonight is to wrap up the highlights of a day when global citizenry was bright in the limelight. But to be a global citizen, what does it mean? Well, at heart, it's to provide humanity with a brighter dream of a world where forums like this spark the transformation of a society that transcends borders and nations. The day began with Olinga, Dr. Modi and the Hinduja brothers laying the foundations of how we'll become the global citizens that our world so dearly needs. What are the key elements? Well, Olinga suggested there's three, namely social innovation, capacity development, and technological smarts to heal a world that by good versus bad has been torn apart. So we must start to move beyond the chains of politics and religion to create that one world of Dr. Modi's vision.
By becoming a member of the Global Citizen Forum, it will not only encourage Dr. Modi in his endeavors, it will also help the mankind all over the world to unite and bring peace and prosperity to all of us so that we can live in harmony. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for everyone coming here, make this conference successful. Thank the speakers for giving such a motivational talk. I'll just request everyone, there are forms on your table, you could fill them up. Either go to the GCF website and you could fill it online. But I request, since all are sitting here, the physical forms in front of you, you could fill it up and become members straight away.
We have 7 billion people on this planet which are global citizens. And I think what we need to do as a forum is to make them aware of that. And I think all of you can play a role there. Everybody who becomes a global citizen can help in helping other people realizing that they are global citizens. They say that with the help of 5 people or 6 people, you can connect with the whole world. And we have much more than 6 people sitting in this room. So it's not difficult to connect with the whole 7 billion people in a chain reaction by the people who are present here or who have become global citizens.
GCF, yes we are global citizens. GCF.